Scissor 7 Season 2 begins by showing an expert hairdresser opens a new barbershop immediately crowded with visitors. But he opened his business across from Ryuki's barbershop. He can style the customer's hair with water art like an avatar. Ryuki was curious, so he disguised himself as a chandelier in a barbershop to see their performance. When Ryuki wanted to cut the man's hair with ordinary scissors, the scissors couldn't cut it, because he uses Stan's gel, which makes his hair strong. Finally, Ryuki used super scissors to cut that man's hair, which worked. After that, he ran away with Daibo, leaving the barbershop. Then the flying rooster came to help them, but he was left behind and beaten poorly. When Ryuki arrived in front of the barbershop, Daibo was angry with him. He said the missions almost failed, and they couldn't get paid. Moreover, now his barbershop has a business rival with good skills. Suddenly Dachun came. He wanted to do hair treatment at Ryuki barbershop. During the treatment, he said many criminals are coming to this island now, and one of them is Ryuki. But he denied it and said his business was legal. Dachun came to ask Ryuki to cooperate to eradicate the criminals for the safety of the residents. He said to Daibo that Dachun's words were nonsense. If Ryuki succeeds in catching the criminals, Dachun will reward him with 100,000 yuan for one criminal. Daibo agrees to the mission after knowing the rewards are great. After Dachun left, Daibo ordered Ryuki to immediately find the criminals. But he was confused because his mission was very different from the previous one. His targets are ruthless criminals and have great power. To encourage Ryuki, Daibo gave him the secret weapon of hair wax number 7. When it opened, he looked like he was straightening his hair, when actually, there is a button next to the tool that can be used to shoot. Ryuki was confused about where to look for the assassins. Then he stopped at a food stall. He talks to a man who is eating and asks, "Are you an assassin?" Indeed, he was an assassin 3346 who was called a god of gambling. Then Ryuki shot the man with his new weapon, but the bullet only hit the dice. Luckily the man didn't notice his attack. The man invited him to play together. When he didn't notice, Ryuki reshot him and left the place. Ryuki ordered the meatballs when he stopped in front of the beef meatball stall. The meatball seller is an assassin rank 2999 named Shodalyuan. He hit Ryuki directly, but Ryuki turned into a ball and bit his tail. Then Ryuki left him by running to pee. When Ryuki arrived at the public toilet, he met a man wearing a ninja costume. Ryuki asked if he was a cosplayer, but after hearing Ryuki's words, he got angry and pointed his sword. It turned out that he was an assassin number 11279. After that, while Ryuki was walking, he met Bobby Chen, who was in pain on the side of the road. He thought that Bobby Chen was attacked by an assassin, but it wasn't. On the other side, there was a man who was an assassin named Haruka Ichiro, an assassin number 2117. He was flirting with a teenage girl named Kola. He asked her who was the strongest person on this island. She replied it was Ryuki, the one standing behind him right now. Ichiro turned his body and attacked Ryuki, but he dodged. Ryuki attacks by tricking him and hitting his face. After he fell, Ryuki left him. He asks who he is, and Ryuki replies he is the #1 hairdresser on the island. Ryuki went to see Bobby Chen, who was being operated on for a bullet in his stomach. But when Dachun saw it, he said it was a gallstone, not a bullet. Bobby Chen just fainted now. Then 3 men from a rival barbershop came over to Ryuki. They invite him to fight to determine who is the strongest hairdresser on the island. Suddenly, Meihua came and cut their hair with her sword. Meihua comes to Ryuki to inform him that there will be many assassins coming to this island. She was afraid that he would not be able to face them, and she asked him to leave the island immediately. The next day a man came to the barbershop to get his hair done. Even though he was wearing different clothes and a mask, Ryuki knew he was Ichiro. After that, he told Ryuki that now he works at the market. He always sees girls passing in front of his shop daily. Ryuki immediately guessed that he loved her. Ryuki offers him a lucky haircut, but at first, Ichiro hesitates. But to get the girl's attention, he entrusted his hair to Ryuki. At night, Daibo offers a promo for the barbershop's birthday. But suddenly, the barbershop banner fell almost on him. Turns out it was Meihua's doing that aimed to attack Ryuki. She remembers when she fought against Prince Stan. She asked her teacher why she had to kill Ryuki. Her teacher answered that if you want to become his student, you must obey and do not need to ask for various reasons. Meihua, who feels indebted to Ryuki for being saved by him, ends up just taking his sword and not killing him. However, this time Meihua really wanted to kill Ryuki. As usual, he changed his form to save himself when he was about to be attacked. But that method can no longer fool her. Moments later, he took out Xiaofei and then tried to escape. However, Xiaofei is caught by Meihua's pet, causing Ryuki to fall. After that, both of them made a deal. Whoever falls to the ground first is declared as the loser. Just as Meihua was about to attack Ryuki, he suddenly saw a figure behind the trees which seemed about to attack them. And sure enough, it was fortunate that he could thwart the attack very deftly. Meihua was surprised because that person was her brother. She admits defeat and promises to return Ryuki's sword. Ryuki said that he no longer wanted the sword because he now preferred to use his scissors. Don't forget he is grateful for the scissors Meihua gave him. Before leaving, she dropped the list of people she would kill. Knowing that there were people he knew, Ryuki then asked why these people had to be killed. She replied that it was a wuxia method that is usually used when you want to control an area. You have to kill the strongest fighter on the island, then the other residents will not fight. The wuxia organization doesn't have many members because only a handful of people can become members. They have to have great talent and train for years to become real fighters, which is why wuxia is the strongest organization in the world. Originally, Meihua came to the island just wanting to get a list of information about some strong fighters, and she was ordered to kill them. She got the list while she was there. Ryuki asked why Meihua gave him the list of names. She replied that she had failed to complete her mission in time, so wuxia paid the assassins to come to the island, and she chose to stop and no longer interfere with this matter. Right now, Meihua's teacher wants to kill Ryuki even though he has left this island, but Ryuki doesn't focus on listening to her. He instead thinks about what clothes to wear when he goes to the beach with her. On the other hand, Ichiro is approaching the girl he loves. He helped her when she was soaked because of the rain. He protects her with his hair. He was very happy with the lucky haircut. The next day, a man came to the barbershop to cut his hair, but the person has no money to pay for it when it's done. Just as Ryuki was about to beat him up, the man took out some martial arts books from wuxia. In exchange, the man would give the one book to him. Without thinking, he immediately chose one of the papers. He chose a book about fashionable hairstyles. At night in the dog tribe, a strange dog comes and plays his acoustic guitar to attack the guards. Fang immediately came to block them, but he was hit by their attack, so he felt his life was meaningless. Instantly he felt like he was playing a video clip for a sad song that made him cry. After Fang came to his senses, it turned out that the melody pierced his chest. That's what happened to him last night. Fang is currently undergoing treatment by the bear doctor. Daibo said that the guitar had a long-lost magical sad voice. He plans to get the dog out and will do it at night. Fang pretended to rest and sat down with a bottle of drink. Not long after, the foreign dog came and tied him with a melody. The dog thought it was not the real Fang, but it turned out it was him. Ryuki, who was disguised as a bottle of drink, smiled. At the right time, Ryuki transformed himself back into a human and performed a 7-day golden lock. Then Xiaomi asks who he is and why he wants to kill Fang. The dog said nothing and just played his guitar. There Ryuki and the others were affected by the guitar attack, but the attack didn't work against Daibo because he wore a headset on his ear while shooting the dog. When Ryuki came to his senses, he attacked the dog and managed to slash the guitar strings. Finally, the dog attacked Ryuki with the sword while he used his super scissors. Then Ryuki forcefully pulled the dog's nose. Turns out it was just a disguise because he was a cat. When the dog was about to attack Fang, Xiaomi blocked him. She saw his face closely and recognized the cat's face. It turns out he is the deputy head of the cat tribe named Miao Chai. He said that he had always loved her, but she chose Fang. 6 months ago, Miao Chai left the island to go to Thailand to forget about Xiaomi, but he was adrift in the middle of the sea until he arrived at Wuxia. After he ran out of food, he made money there by singing. Then he meets a man named Qin Nao, who teaches him a magical sadness melody. When Miao Chai returns to the island, he wants to express his feelings to Xiaomi, but he saw Fang playing the guitar so coolly and that made him give up. The next day when Miao Chai was leaving, he gave Ryuki a map of the location of Wuxia. After that, they returned to the barbershop. On the other hand, Kola was using a skateboard to come to Ryuki's barbershop. She wanted to do her hair, but she didn't like it when it was done. Then Kola asked Ryuki to go out, but he refused because he had to study a fashionable hairstyle book. She felt annoyed and immediately went to see Daibo and gave him a wad of money to hire Ryuki. On the way, Kola asked about the doctor he had recommended for her disease. The doctor couldn't help her, and he only gave her 1,000-year-old fermented tofu. When Kola left him, Ryuki suddenly couldn't move. It turned out that there was an invisible assassin who tied him with his tongue. He was assassin number 7888. When Bobby Chen was passing by, Ryuki immediately asked for his help. Kola was confused because Ryuki wasn't behind her. She took out a cell phone to call him. Just as she was about to call, she heard a voice in the woods. She immediately saw the source of the voice. There, she saw Prince Stan and came to him. Kola touched Prince Stan's hand with such force that he couldn't move. She threatens to call Ryuki if he doesn't want to take her to the booth. Because she was curious about the place, Kola had heard of it often but had never been there. Reluctantly, Prince Stan took her away there. Arriving at Stan, a robot is scanning Cola so that the robot gets data about her. It turns out that she is a product of Stan's genetic experiment, but she is a failed product. 14 years ago, they carried out a gene combination experiment. The goal is to create humans with high IQs and super abilities. But all else failed, so the baby was born with a genetic defect. They all couldn't survive long. Only Cola had been able to survive until now. Her mother is Stan's researcher number 18. She was a rebel from Stan named Zian Juan-Wen. Cola's cancer is now due to a genetic defect. Prince Stan offers her a cure, but she must stay at Stan and help with their research. Cola heard that and was very surprised and wanted to go home immediately. Arriving on the island, Cola immediately looked for Liuki and found him sleeping on the street. Not far away, Prince Stan was watching them from a motorbike. When Prince Stan saw that, he wondered why they liked to waste time with simple but seemingly happy things. He was envious of them. The next day, Liuki returned to selling soup food street. Then Daibo called him and asked why he was selling soup again. He answered that because there were no customers at the barber shop, that's why he was selling soup again. Daibo tells him to go back to the barber shop because there is a man who wants to get a haircut with a big salary. The man was Captain Jack with his men. Elsewhere, Meihua met a man who was a weapon forged by profession. She wants to ask about that Liuki's sword. He replied that the sword was called the Thousand Demon Dagger, a treasure belonging to the god of weapons forging. It was made up of 1,000 shards and was the strongest sword ever. But only the elect can use it. If used by the wrong person, then the sword is just an ordinary sword. In the scene back at the barber shop, Liuki saw Jack tied up Daibo's body. His arrival was only to restore his image. He talks about Prince Stan, but Liuki doesn't know who he is. Jack wants to see Liuki's strength. He will douse Daibo with hot oil if Liuki doesn't want to bring out his true strength. He immediately threw his scissors aiming to untie Daibo's rope, but the scissors were blocked by Jack's men. On the other hand, sitting on a tree, Meihua was curious about the power of Liuki's sword. She tries to use it, but there is no reaction. She wondered who Liuki really was. Suddenly she felt powerful energy around her, so she went towards the energy source. It turned out to be Liuki's energy concentrating power on the scissors. He thought back to when he fought with Jack first. He had used several moves, but Jack was able to dodge. Until finally, he was beaten by Jack mercilessly. Jack wants to put Liuki in a critical state to remember who he really is, but Liuki still couldn't remember his past. When Meihua came, he was hurting himself with scissors to the shock of all of them. She immediately blocks Jack from killing him. Jack said that he only wanted to fight with the old Liuki. But when he saw Meihua's sword, he wanted to take it. When she was caught off guard, he attacked her quickly. At the same time, Liuki began to recall the same incident. He got up and cut Jack's hair. The next day a mysterious man came to the barber shop to meet Daibo. He shows a photo of Liuki and Xiaofei being tied up somewhere. If Daibo wanted to save them, he had to come to the West Jiali Bay Road. He immediately went to that place. Arriving at the place, Daibo did not see anyone there, but the place reminded Daibo of the events of the past. Suddenly the cloud became dark, and he heard a voice behind the tree. It turned out to be the voice of King Pheasant who directly hit him. Then he inquired about the whereabouts of Liuki and Xiaofei. King Pheasant said he had kidnapped Liuki using Stan's technology. He tells about his condition after Daibo defeated him first. When Daibo's condition was weak, there was an airplane that took him away. He was taken to a place he had never been. Then he was put in a capsule for genetic experiment material. They all died enduring agony in that capsule. Only he had been able to survive until now. It turned out that at that time, King Pheasant was in Stan. When King Pheasant saw Daibo's name was on the list of people to be killed, he was overjoyed. At that place, Daibo told about his struggle to practice for years. He felt overwhelmed by it. King Pheasant had turned into a very strong one. When he ends the fight, Daibo asks him not to hurt Liuki and Xiaofei. Hearing those words, King Pheasant laughed because Daibo used to want to terrorize all humans. He was so afraid of humans that he tricked Liuki into becoming an assassin. But when he was with Liuki, his desire for revenge disappeared. Even Daibo felt that his life was now pleasant. But King Pheasant was angry when he discovered that Daibo was happy. He wanted to kill him. But suddenly Xiaofei comes and wants to save Daibo. It turns out that he is Liuki disguised as Xiaofei. He immediately locked King Pheasant until he didn't have any energy. The story goes back to being on Stan's haircut ship. It turns out that Liuki fell into Jack's submarine. Then he threw Liuki back to the island because he didn't want to deal with him anymore. When they wanted to kill King Pheasant, Daibo asked him to go home because he wanted to end his feud with the king. Arriving at the barber shop, Liuki told Daibo to go to the doctor. But Daibo refuses because he has to spend money. At that time, Liuki was remembering his old self and guessing what it was like. He thought he was strong, handsome, and so strong that he could beat Jack, but he preferred his current life. Then he wanted to say something to Daibo, which was to say thank you. The next day, the man who gave Ryuki the wuxia book came again, but he said he had no money. Suddenly, a letter arrives, which turns out to be from Mei Hua. She invited him to meet at Duck Island this afternoon. Finally, they met, but Ryuki thought there was something strange about her. Suddenly, she stabbed him with a poison knife from behind. It turned out that her name was Mei Hua Shii, the older sister of Mei Hua. She is an assassin number 88. Ryuki, who felt himself helpless, started to feel a strange thing in his body. Immediately he felt dizzy and could not see clearly. Just as Shii wanted to stab him again, Da-chun came. Immediately she remembered that Da-chun's face was on the list of people she had to kill. Shii tries to seduce Da-chun but fails because he is an innocent man. After she attacks him, he realizes that Shii is an assassin. Ryuki, who watched them fight, was like seeing a ridiculous caricature due to the poison effect. Then Ryuki controlled his concentration so that the poison in his body disappeared. Shii, who was preparing to run away, was blocked by Jiang. Because the clothes are very sexy and inappropriate for small children to see. Finally, Jiang shot her. When Jiang was about to shoot her again, suddenly, Mei Hua came and blocked her. The scene then moved to 2 years ago. A burly man was walking towards a cave. He is the king of the Iron Fist. He threw a skull into the cave, then a big creature came out and got angry. After the creature came out, he managed to defeat it. He took the fur from the creature to make a coat. Then when he was about to leave, he met Mei Hua's teacher, who instantly killed him with ease. He is a phoenix who has become a shadow assassin at the age of 21. Then he sat while waiting for the messenger of the leader of the shadow assassins to come. He said his boss wanted to meet with Phoenix. Not long after, the leader brought a 15-year-old boy. He made it into the list of the 7 greatest shadow assassins with the 7 emblems. But while walking, Seven is confronted by a woman named Red Tooth, who is curious as to why he managed to become a shadow assassin, even though he didn't do any missions and didn't kill anyone. Red Tooth, a member of the 7 shadow assassins, wants to test the prowess of Seven, but he didn't want to respond. He said that he would not kill anyone outside the mission, but she still attacked him to find out how much power he had. It turned out that Phoenix was not far from there while watching their fight. When fighting, Seven has very fast movement reflexes. He stabbed Red Tooth unnoticed by her, but she bit his shoulder so that it drained the energy in him. Phoenix, who saw that, felt very amazed by Seven's strength. Maybe he didn't know what to do if that happened to him. Instantly Red Tooth turned into a terrifying creature. The stab wound from Seven's sword can heal quickly. As Seven walked away, Red Tooth tried to bite him again, but Phoenix managed to stop her. After that, she said she just wanted to tease new people and know his greatness, then she left. Phoenix tells Seven if he has a good sword, maybe he will win. Then he asked what the best sword in the world was, and Phoenix answered that the sword was called the Sword of 1,000 Demons. The sword is currently guarded by the dark spirit of the millennium. After finding out, Seven went to look for the sword, until he was somewhere and he found it. The scene continues on Chicken Island. Jiang is buying vegetables. When she got home, she felt someone was coming. That person turned out to be Red Tooth, who said she wasn't Quan anymore. When Quan was a member of the Heaven Lily, she was the new student while Jiang was the senior. Jiang always helps and accompanies her practice. When Jiang has crowned the heir to the Heaven Lily, Quan felt red. Then she went somewhere and met the Red Devil. After gaining strength, Quan wanted to destroy the Heaven Lily, but she lost control while on the attack and nearly died. Jiang, who saw this, immediately helped her, but the teacher said if she helped her, they would both be expelled. She ignored her teacher's words and continued to treat Quan. The scene returns to the present. When Jiang and Quan fought, she felt overwhelmed by it. She wondered why Quan was so strong. Their battle reached a place where there were many people gathered. Coincidentally, Ryuki and the others were there. When Red Tooth was in front of Ryuki, she briefly recalled his face when they fought back. But her arrival was not to kill Jiang. She asked Jiang to remove the white lily crest on her chest. Jiang refused because she sealed the emblem for her own good. When Red Tooth wanted to bite Jiang, Ryuki used Da-chun's body to hold her back. But she knows Da-chun's weakness in his navel. She immediately bit his shoulder and absorbed his energy until she became stronger. Ryuki's attacks didn't work against her either. Jiang tells Ryuki she knows how to fight him, but to unlock that energy, she has to kiss. But he objected and told Da-chun to do it since he was already conscious. But Da-chun prefers to faint again. Reluctantly, Ryuki and Jiang finally kissed each other. After that, Jiang was able to activate her power again. She turned so young and beautiful that they were surprised to see her. After transforming, she easily overpowered Red Tooth and made her return to her original form. Jiang used her power again to draw the evil demonic power from Red Tooth's body. Seeing her in pain, Jiang stopped her attack. When Jiang approached Red Tooth, she attacked another person and was blocked by her. The power of the white lilies did not last long. Jiang returned to her original form. Then Red Tooth attacked Liuqi and bit his shoulder. She felt the same energy when she bit him with Seven's energy, so she got a lot of energy. From a distance, Mei Hua and her teacher were watching their fight. She saw Liuqi being attacked and wanted to come to help him but was restrained by her teacher from interfering. Dachun, Daibo, and the others attacked Red Tooth, but they all failed. Red Tooth asks Jiang to unseal it, otherwise, she will bite Liuqi's blood to the bone. Liuqi felt very angry because his friend was made helpless by Red Tooth. Then Seven's shadow came and asked him to be resurrected so that he would get great power. Instantly Liuqi's eyeballs turned red, and he held the sword of 1,000 demons to fight. He immediately attacked Red Tooth. But when Liuqi was helpless, suddenly Phoenix came and blocked Red Tooth. Phoenix said he came to see the fierce battle between them. He brought the 1,000-demon sword and gave it to Liuqi. Phoenix immediately created a protective field because battles between assassins were not for the public. He was disappointed that Liuqi's fighting skills weren't the same as before, because Liuqi didn't use Seven's ability fully because he only increased his ki energy. When finished, Red Tooth is the winner. Liuqi seemed to have exhausted so much energy that he was weak that he couldn't raise his hand. She was happy that she was able to beat him, but there was one more person who wanted to kill her. That person was Phoenix. When Phoenix attacks Red Tooth, he tells her that the next person who will be killed is her. Then he killed Red Tooth. When Phoenix leaves, he says that the organization will send more assassins. The organization has a mission to finish off everyone on the island. There's one way to save them, but Phoenix doesn't say how in this season. When the protective field opened, everyone was shocked that Liuqi had managed to defeat Red Tooth. The next day, a male assassin was looking for the strongest hairdresser on the island, but he is surprised when he crosses paths with Seven. Liuqi, who was on a wooden boat, prepared to go to find the leader of the shadow assassins. The moral that can be learned from this anime is, don't take advantage of someone's innocence for personal gain, because we never know what bad karma will come back to us after doing all the bad things.